Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Luis Barajas. That you're back. I want to share with you today some of my favorite investment books, or what I call financial planning books. People are always asking me, and I'm seeing on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, people sharing their books. And I will share with you that all wealth begins in the mind. And so the book that you have to read, and I'm going to share with you, have to read, I think like 90% of all CEOs in the S&P 500 have read this book. It's Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It was written, I think, in the 1930s. Think and Grow Rich is found. If you read this book and you love to read and you've never read it, everything you have read in the last 20, 30, 40 years has basically come from this book. Anything that's having to do with mindset. And I will tell you that all wealth begins in the mind first, and don't read anything else until you've read this book. I have the new author who I love to death, and that's Morgan Housel. I think he's phenomenal, and what he's written on, again, I go back to the mindset, is this wonderful book that he's written called The Psychology of Money. Love it. One of my top 5 favorite books of all time at this point now. And he's actually written a new book that I love just the same, and maybe even more. And they're very simple books to read. But again, it'll change the way you think about money. It'll change the way you behave about money. And so it's called Same as Ever by Morgan Housel. It's another wonderful book. A book that I've read 3 times now that everybody recommends. If you go through on TikTok or Instagram and say favorite investment books by whatever people, they're going to mention this book all the time. The Intelligent Investor. This was the book that Warren Buffett tells you got to read. But honestly, not too many people are going to read it. Look at this thing. I mean, basically, it's the Bible on investing. It's just a lot. I've read it like 2 or 3 times. No, actually, more than 3 times. A wonderful book, but most people aren't going to read it. Take a look at the other books first. If you really get deep into investing, this is something that you might want to take a look at. Something that's simple to read. And the gentleman is not a financial planner or an investment advisor, but he's now, I guess, delving into the money aspect is Tony Robbins, who actually was one of my mentors a long, long time ago. And he wrote a book called Unshakable and the Money Mastering the Game. Money Master the Game. A great book. It's an easy read. He gives you tips, not what he says, but he's interviewed some of the best money managers of all time. And so there's a great book. And then I will share with you books that I've written for the masses, for just like regular people, you and I. I wrote It's My Street Money. And again, it's a book on your mindset and just simple, basic financial planning tips. But this is a book that's written for people who just kind of starting out and need to want more information. And then I wrote a book called The Latino Journey to Financial Greatness. It's just really focused on the Latino community in the United States. And my books are all in English and in Spanish. I love to promote the Spanish version. El Camino a la Grandeza Financiera. The Journey to Financial Greatness. And financial greatness is not about having a lot of money, but using money to live a better quality of life and having financial dignity in your life. And this is if you're Latino, and Christmas is coming around, this is a great book to give to a Latino, especially we have it in English and Spanish. And then lastly, the Investing for Dummies. If you're going to get started, I know it sounds stupid, Investing for Dummies, but probably the most practical book out there with the most common sense information, who nobody's trying to sell you any kind of stock or bond or trying to manipulate you into buying into any one of their programs. It's been around for a long time. It's been updated. So again, if you're thinking about Investing for Dummies is another wonderful book. See you next time.